let's talk about the sales leadership side. You've taken a business from nothing to significant scale. How do you think about the appropriate sales leadership for those different stages?
That's an interesting question. The sales leadership, there are multiple stages in the company. So the first thing, I would advise any founder to understand that, there is the $0 to $25 million stage, which is where you're kind of figuring out a lot of things, and you really want sales leadership that is very comfortable in this kind of a highly fluid kind of environment, and they are very comfortable in when we haven't established a great sales process. Then there is the part from that somewhere in the $20-30 million of annual sales to say from that to $100-200 million of sales. That's where you have to switch to more of a repeatable process, because there's no way you can scale without a repeatable process. And so the nature of sales leadership shifts at that point. And so it doesn't matter it's the same leader or the different leader, but it's how you do your day-to-day management of sales is different. Now it becomes more around how do you establish a more repeatable process. And the process is not just the sales process. The process is recruiting process, ramping process. Sales. If you hire a lot of salespeople, how fast can you ramp them, and tracking that and bringing that down. And some people enjoy that, some people don't enjoy that. So that's how you have to think about I look at the journey for a lot of companies. You have the $0 to $25 million kind of journey. I look at the $25 to $200 million journey, and then there's a $200 to $1 billion journey, and then maybe $1 billion to a $5 billion journey as well. And it's different ways you do things. It's not, there's no one size fit all for all of it. So that's how I look at the sales leadership, how it works.
Excellent. Okay, good. Let's it's amazing talking to you about sales, because when I listen to you, I think you're a sales guru for 20 years. And in reality, your background is technical. You're a product expert. So let's talk about product for a little bit. Building software, the process of building software has changed quite a bit in the last 5-10 years. Can you talk a little bit about some of these mega trends around how software gets built today versus how it was developed in the past?
I think the primary thing that has changed about software now compared to 5-10 years ago is just the speed. The speed is so much faster, and it used to take a year to develop something that you could develop faster. So what that allows is it allows you to iterate faster as well. So any great software development organization now has to learn to iterate faster. So that is extremely important. My big philosophy around software development is what we call customer-centric engineering. That especially in the world of enterprise software, one of the biggest challenges I found in the world of enterprise software is most software engineers, they are so far removed from customer that they have no context of what a customer does. What does even a customer look like, right? So we have a customers. Our customers are people in a data center in Midwest somewhere, and our engineers here in San Francisco, they have no idea what they do in their day, right? What do they look like? What their challenges are. And I worked in enterprise software companies in the past where that was a big issue. That as an engineer, I never knew the customer, and that always frustrated me. It's how would I solve a problem? If it comes through so many layers of filters and I have no idea what a customer looks like. If you're in the consumer world, it's easier because you can use the consumer app every day, so you are the consumer, you are the customer as well. In the enterprise world, that's hard. So what we do as part of our model is really solving that problem. And our model is if you can break the barriers between engineers and customers, that's when the fastest innovation will happen. The biggest challenge as an organization is how do you make sure the engineers are solving the right problems, and right problems in the right way that the customers will attach value to.
But say more. How do you do that at scale? What are the nuggets you would share with founders on how to do that?
There are different ways of doing it, and we follow a lot of different things. One of the things that we have followed that worked well for us is a lot of the sales presentations are on a WebEx or on a conference call. So we encourage our engineers to just come in and sit in those. It's For many years we used to even have like a sales presentation calendar which was shared across the company, that anyone could just come in and sit in those, dial in and sit in those. You don't have to speak anything. You can even bring your laptop and keep working and just absorb. When someone presents, someone in sales is presenting, what questions customers are asking. When a sales engineer is showing a demo, which parts of the demo are exciting, which parts are not. Just by sitting in those, engineers learn a lot. They listen to what customers is reacting to, what customers are talking about, what their objections are. And the thing with, I'm a bit biased towards engineer always, that engineers are some of the smartest people in the world, right? If you kind of make it easy for them to understand the problem, they will come up with solutions. In many cases, we have seen examples of like an engineer on a customer call, and they will, their brain will start thinking about the solution, and over the weekend, they've already built out the solution. So that kind of magic happens after that.
Do you do anything special on the recruiting side for your engineers to find people who would excel in this type of environment?
We, our recruiting approach for engineers is like hire really the two things we look for, and it's really talented, like really bright people. Second is people who are willing to learn. They have the ambition to learn things. Because my belief is like, if you look only for things that people have already know, it's a very small set. Like, most of the times you will be learning new things. So a lot of our recruiting process is around like, can people learn new things? It's like not just about, do you know this technology, do you know that technology? It's ideally you want people who can learn pretty much anything. You can learn things fast. So then you can learn the business problems also. They can learn the technical problems as well. And they can learn a lot of like, how do you become more well-rounded as an engineer? Yeah. Which is how do you, a lot of times like people tell me, don't bring an engineer in front of a customer. Engineers don't know, how to act or behave in front of a customer. I call that like it's completely bullshit. That's they will learn pretty fast. And the one thing that we realize is the customers love it. Customers love to interact with engineers, because that builds such a bond between the customer and the company, that the customers feel part of our journey. They feel part of like, that they are partners with us if they interact with our engineers. So it's not like, just that we are gaining something from it. The customers are gaining a lot because they could influence, and and it forms this kind of a partnership kind of model.
So it looks like really you're looking for intellectual curiosity in the recruiting process.
Exactly. That is the biggest part of what engineers should be. We define our characteristics for how we measure engineers, and we look at like people who are extremely technology savvy, which is must for engineers. But we also look at people who are business savvy, and and our belief is like most engineers could learn to be business and customer savvy as long as they. So when we promote engineers, that's a big criteria for us. That the people we promote, people we want to be in more positions of more responsibility in engineering. Being business savvy is a key criteria.